The golden age of America begins right now.
If you confine yourself to the mass media, you won't find many people dissenting from a binary view of President Trump's first 100 days. His hyperactive start is either an overdue and necessarily bruising overhaul of America's corrupted institutional framework, a revolution against a failed establishment, or else it's the most menacing arrogation of executive power in the history of the Republic, a series of giant steps towards complete authoritarian takeover.
We're supposed to have equal branches of government. The executive branch is cutting off the other branches. That's not the way democracy works. That's the way dictatorships work.
But there might be an emerging mass of people for whom the bigger question isn't whether their president is a savior or a tyrant, but whether this man and his team are really capable of remaking the American and global order.
You watch. Next year, we'll spend more money than we did this year. And the year after that, we will too.
Mr. Trump's immediate principal goals were laudable and commanded widespread approval. Close the poorest border.
We are throwing them the hell out of our country. We have no apologies.
Downsize a bloated government.
We can't just continue to do everything for everyone.
End the woke lunacy that's had most of our establishment in its thrall.
From now on, women's sports will be only for women.
Rebuild the military with emphasis on deterrence.
America will re-establish peace through strength.
But identifying goals is the easy part. Actually achieving them is quite different. In their multi-front 100-day war, the Trump team has taken on, in no particular order, the courts, leading universities, most of the media, much of the legal profession, the bond markets, the currency markets, the equity markets, and the world's second largest economy and second most powerful geopolitical force.
I believe we're going to have a deal with China.
The theory behind the blitzkrieg approach is that its boldness is its principal guarantee of success. That by flooding the zone, you keep enemies off balance and disoriented by the sheer energy, demoralized by the sheer ambition. But you do have to execute. And the evidence is accumulating that this war is less blitzkrieg than blunderland.
We anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion.
The Department of Government Efficiency has, as many of us suspected it would, delivered a mouse to challenge the mountain of US government spending. Meanwhile, tariffs won't lead to a revival in American manufacturing anytime soon.
When you tax those inputs, as Donald Trump is doing, you're not strengthening American manufacturing, you're weakening it.
Changing the rules of the international economy has proved hard, despite Mr. Trump's rhetoric.
We're a big, beautiful store, and everybody wants a piece of that store.
Ending the war in Ukraine hasn't happened. But we have managed to alienate just about every partner we have.
You don't start a war against somebody that's 20 times your size and then hope that people give you some missiles.
We may at least be edging closer to a bold new Iran strategy.
The president himself has made very clear Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
But it seems to be a retread of Barack Obama's failed strategy. And proxies remain undeterred.
We say to Trump, may God's wrath be upon him. Not a single eyelid has twitched from his missile strikes, and our resolve will not be shaken.
Not only is there no evidence that the People's Republic of China has been cowed by any of this, but it seems the People's Republic of Harvard now likes its chances against the federal government, despite the administration's efforts.
Harvard has a pretty big endowment. And I think that, taxpayers across the country are looking at this over $50 billion endowment and saying, why are our tax dollars going to some of these elite universities that aren't even protecting their students on campus?
To give credit where it's due, immigration restrictionism has been a big success. Now, many of us may not like the price paid in legal chicanery, or a dubiously necessary heavy hand that they claim is necessary to deal with alleged MS-13 gang members like Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
I'm not vouching for the man. I'm vouching for the man's rights, his constitutional rights to due process. And the proper place to litigate that is in the courts.
But the law enforcement efforts and the message sent to immigration scofflaws have at least begun to offset the damage done by years of open borders. Elsewhere, the impression is one of escalating failure, however, alongside escalating overreach.
Take a look at what happened just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field. An assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
In its first few weeks, the most striking difference between the second and first Trump administrations was a unity of purpose, a lack of internal dissent, and an accent on execution.
We put together a great cabinet.
But as the weeks have passed, we see a more familiar picture of indiscipline and disarray.
Tariffs don't punish foreign governments, they punish American families.
So we learn from the Journal about the bizarre lengths to which the president's economic policy advisors went to get Mr. Trump to pause his destructive initial global tariff plan. They had to ensure that tariff fan Peter Navarro was out of physical range of the president to get Mr. Trump to issue a statement revising the plan.
There will be a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs as these negotiations are ongoing, and the tariff level will be brought down to a universal 10% tariff.
Then there was the news of intensified internal fights at the Pentagon. 3 aides to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth were ousted.
We have not been told, as of this recording, one, is there what we were being investigated for? 2, is there still an investigation? And 3, was there even a real investigation? Because there's a lot of evidence that there is not a real investigation.
I don't doubt the seriousness of intent with which the Trump administration is seeking to remake the political and cultural landscape. Nor do I disdain the fears of those who argue that the administration's expansive interpretation of its executive authorities represents a threat to the constitutional order.
We don't have a king now, we have a president, but we have a president who called himself a king, who wants to be a king, and we don't want a king.
The problem I have is that even as they overstep their limits, they seem to blunder deeper into the mire. The biggest risk may be that voters will start to ask, what's the use of a strong man who can't do anything right?